What's up, everybody out there in YouTube land? Wrath2501 here. Alright guys, time for some Warhammer stuff. So we're back with Major Kill. This is what is it like living on a chaos world, okay? I suppose you can't get much more Halloweenish than that. Alright, so let's see what we got here. See what he's got to say about that. Alright. Wait. Is this thing? Yeah, okay. Alright, and go.
Today we'll go over what life is like on a chaos
Advertisement,
world, ranging from worlds under chaotic occupation, but not yet a hellhole, all the way to the demon worlds within the Eye of Terror. Let's get into it. When people say that the Imperium are the good guys, they don't mean they're actually good.
No, they're
It's
not.
relative to the other shit in the galaxy. For example, a hive city is like a mega city slum on steroids, but it's still a hell of a lot better than most chaos worlds. Looking at the first time, we have worlds that have come under chaotic occupation. These aren't too terrible unless the occupying force belongs to the Khorne, in which case it's not an occupation but rather an annihilation.
Yeah.
Or Nurgle, who will spread mega AIDS juice throughout the world faster than Hooker spreads her legs. But let's just say for the slower acting Slaanesh or Titsnitch, or the more practical Black Legion, you won't get clobbered or zombified too quickly. The occupying force will begin focusing on shoring up its defenses in preparation for Imperial retaliation. They will mostly ignore the everyday people. However, places of worship will be defiled, and a bunch of kitty-fiddling chaotic priests will begin attempting to convert as much of the population to chaos as possible to bolster their own army. They can and will forcibly conscript people into their forces. However, this is a bit of a double-edged sword, as the morale for these conscripts is super low, and there's a good chance they'll just start blasting anything with a spike or horn as soon as the shooting starts. If chaos is able to hold the world and permanently set up on it, this is where shit gets interesting. Many more practical chaos warbands or legions, such as the Blood Pact, Iron Warriors, Night Lords, Red Corsairs, or Black Legion, understand that to produce good weapons, soldiers, or Astartes aspirants, you can't just use the world as a cum dump. Hence, brutal yet organized chaotic governments will
unless they work for Slaanesh, in which case that's all they do.
Chaos worlds will be pretty similar to the particularly brutal Imperial worlds, just a bit more deprived and chaotic. It's inevitable that the rate of mutation will increase, but not so much that the world gets full of beastmen and chaos forms. These worlds make for great recruitment worlds for the Traitor Legions. However, their method of recruitment is pretty fucked up. As Traitor Geneseed has gotten quite unstable combined with the poor health and purity of people born on Chaos Worlds, the Astartes will kidnap pregnant women as their unborn children have not yet been tainted. The women will then give birth under the custody of said legion, with the child being quickly removed from her as it begins the transformation process to become an Astartes. After that, the mother will generally be killed or enslaved. So, yeah, getting knocked up on a chaos world is shit. You'll either have a violent miscarriage, a mutant baby, death during childbirth, or kidnapped. If you do manage to give birth to a normal child, then congrats, that kid has to grow up on a chaos world. Good job, mum. I mean, I guess chaos worlds don't have Planned Parenthood funding, so if you're not down to do a coat hanger abortion, then you might just end up getting unlucky.
Dude, that is just disturbing as fuck. What the hell, man?
Need to accept consent. What? I told you it was going to be grimdark. Although
no
time, these chaos worlds will continue to degrade as the corruption deepens, they are often stopped from becoming outright demon worlds due to the warband's influence. However, let's say a particularly depraved or corrupted warband takes over the world. Their goal would be to spread as much corruption as quickly as possible. Your day would get ruined very quickly. A Nurglite world becomes a toxic disease-infested jungle very quickly. You'd either die horribly from plagues, or you'd accept Nurgle's gifts and become a Nurglite cultist. Most Slaaneshi demon worlds wouldn't be too bad. A lot of orgies. You would go insane and have serious issues very quickly, but you wouldn't necessarily smell like dog shit like you would if you were on a Nurgle world. Actually, Slaaneshi cultists sometimes eat their own shit and cum, so...
Oh, dude, what the fuck?
Would kill your weak ass. They basically fight 24/7, so unless you're a beast, you'll probably die. Interestingly enough, Titsnitchian demon worlds are actually tolerable. Sure, the rate of mutation is high, but if you prove yourself to be intelligent, useful, or just not an issue, you'll be spared the worst of it. The biggest trick would just be not to stare at anything for too long, especially the sky. Skies in Titsnitchian worlds are fucking cooked. So if you had a choice, go with either a Slaaneshi or Titsunichian demon world.
Ugh.
If you're wondering how these worlds support any form of population, it's because their population is mostly demons. However, if you are a cultist, generally you gain access to an extended lifespan or even immortality. So the very, very low birth rates on demon worlds are offset by the fact that nobody dies of natural causes. Some demon lords or warbands will also go raid real space and capture a bunch of people to help support the populations of these demon worlds. Not for practical reasons, just so they have more toys to play with. But I realize I'm just saying shit without giving examples. So to rectify this, I will now give examples of a number of different
Rectumify
worlds and what life is like specifically on each one. First up, we have the most bizarre and straight up silliest demon world in the entire setting, Oliensis, aka the gigantic naked fat man in the fetal position.
Oh, that one.
To absolutely nobody's surprise, this demon world doesn't support a very large population. Standard Slaaneshi cultists have no chance of surviving on it because, you know, it's a fucking giant man. So only the most depraved Slaaneshi followers live here. Pretty much just the Noise Marines and some Beastmen. The world was actually attacked by some loyalist Marines during the severely retarded Abyssal Crusade. They were sucked into the planet and forced to live in the man's paws and eat bits of his flesh to survive. By the time they found a way to get off planet, they had fallen to chaos. So, yeah, 0 stars on TripAdvisor. On the flip side, Slaaneshi worlds can also be super functional and productive.
It's nasty.
There's one ruled by a demon prince, or princess I guess, because it's a chick, that has sprawling, heavily populated cities that are very impressive. Sure, there's a lot of disgusting shit that happens and productivity isn't super high, but they have functional mines in which slaves harvest ore for them, as well as a police force to make sure that all the pleasure cultists that run around pumping everything don't get too out of hand. The slaves come from all alien races, orcs, humans, ogrins, even unidentified eldritch horrors that they hit with shock buttons to get them to mine with their claws. At the other end of the spectrum, many of the worlds within the Maelstrom are surprisingly chill. When the Night Lords visited one such world for ship repairs, their mortal crew members were able to explore, communicate with people, and even trade. It was a lot more like a lawless Wild West town rather than a fucked up chaotic shitfest. Pregnant women were actually comfortable walking around the streets and talking to strangers by themselves. So this chaos world that resides within one of the galaxy's assholes leading to hell is more progressive and safer than the entirety of the Middle East. Fuck the Iranian government.
Dude, what the fuck?
I mean, to be fair, that pregnant woman did end up getting kidnapped, her child stolen to become a Night Lord, then she was placed in forced servitude before eventually dying horrifically, but that's besides the point. As I mentioned earlier, the Red Corsairs like to keep their worlds functional so that they can recruit and rearm from them. You can't really repair your ship if all your mechanics turn into Chaos Spawn or keep trying to fuck themselves. The Iron Warriors world of Castellax was pretty horrifying, but not because of chaos. The Iron Warriors like to keep chaos at bay, wielding it as a tool or weapon rather than letting it dominate them. So whilst the people living on Castellax aren't getting sodomized by demons on the daily, their overlords are the Iron Warriors, and the Iron Warriors are massive fucking assholes. Essentially, they are worked to death. When they die, their bodies are turned into rations for the other workers to eat until they too die. When the world was invaded by orcs, most of these menials were chained together to form a front line. They were then given a las rifle and not much else. Yeah, needless to say, the population of Castellax dropped sharply very quickly. But like I said, this is more the Iron Warriors being dicks, rather than chaos causing issues though. The Iron Warriors' homeworld of Medringard is similar. Slaves are worked to death. However, anyone with the will or balls to rise above it will actually enjoy a pretty cool warrior-like culture. Astardi warsmiths will build fortresses and basically play war games against each other to see whose fortress is the best. I use the word games here, but their slaves and lowly warriors will actually fight and die. What about a Khornite world? Well, there actually is some range and diversity here. Obviously, many of them are full of red skies, oceans of blood, shitloads of gladiatorial arenas, and constant infighting. I mean, one such world's supreme lord was actually a demon dragon. However, then there is the Blood Pact worlds. The Blood Pact are Khornite followers. That isn't in doubt. However, they are extremely disciplined, cool-headed, and efficient. They focus on Khorne's pursuit of martial prowess and effective battle, rather than the classic Autismo rageful send that the rest do. As such, the worlds are productive, populated, and ordered. The Blood Pact are actually really cool, and even venerate the Emperor as a warp god that is just a bit misguided. To be honest, I'll give them their own video because they make for a very compelling and interesting chaos faction.
That is interesting.
Snitch planets are quite nice, as demon worlds go. The planet of Casal is very aesthetically pleasing. Everyone is hot, the architecture is nice, and there's plants and shit. They have fully functioning governments and can even trade with outsiders. However, there is like 500 catches, and everyone who lives there is fucking weird. Nobody leaves home without an intricate mask, Nobody speaks with their mouths, everyone loves music, and there's a great sense of wrongness about the people. If you visit the world uninvited, they will just enslave you. The sorcerers on Kusal make exceptional navigators for Chaos Warbands, even though they don't have the navigator mutation. Overall, a very highly valued Chaos world that various warbands trade with. Nurglite worlds are probably the most boring and samey. Not much to add to what I said earlier.
They just
Jungles
are.
and swamps full of fleshy, disgusting flora and fauna. Blissfully ignorant cultists enjoying the land as if it was a paradise, whilst their flesh melts off their bodies and flies breathe from their orifices.
That's just
You could
nasty.
argue that they are technically the nicest of all demon worlds if you are a Nurglite demon or cultist, as there is no infighting, debauchery, or scheming, just a bunch of happy people playing in their own shit. So overall, demon and chaos worlds generally fucking suck, but not necessarily as much as you might think, while some of them are even more pleasant than the average Imperial world.
Yeah, well, you know, some Imperial worlds are better than others. So there are some Chaos worlds that are better than the average Imperial world, but there's also a lot of Imperial worlds that are better than the average Chaos world. So there you go. It just depends on what neighborhood you were born in. Oh, excuse me. Anyway, well, I found that was kind of interesting, except for all the comments he was making about Slaanesh demons. Those things just disturb the fuck out of me. Okay, so whoever created that was definitely working through some issues. I'm telling you that right now. So like this video, subscribe, guys. Click on the link to the original in the description. Get down to Major Kill's channel. Can't speak. Like the original and sub to him too. I will see you guys next time. Tune in every day for new content. Bye bye.